Geometry SOL Review, G5 through 8, Triangles. Whenever you see a right triangle, you have to consider Pythagorean's theorem or trig. We're trying to find the value for x. Since we only have one side, we're not going to use Pythagorean's theorem, we're going to have to use trig. So our trig ratios are SOHCAHTOA. Label your triangle. You always stand at your angle, 20. Adjacent is your x. Hypotenuse is always across from the 90. So we have a and h, so we'll be using cosine. We change cosine into a decimal. It's 0.9396 over 1. We're going to cross multiply. So that's x is equal to 80 times 0.9396. X is 75, choice D. When I look at this and I read through the questions, I have triangles on a grid, ABE, ADE, CBE. When I read through the problems, they're going to have to be congruent. So if they're going to be congruent, corresponding sides are going to have to match up. So for this one, AB will be the same as CB. BE will be the same as BE. So let me check out some things. So when I checked it out, A to B using the distance formula is the same as B to C. Okay, so from A to B, if I use the distance formula, A to B is 5, and C to B is 5. BE is, of course, congruent to itself. So I'm going to check that these are congruent. I'm concerned about the word only. Let me go to ABE. If I look at ABE and ADE, those triangles, wow. And if I use the distance formula, I would definitely see that those two triangles are congruent as well. The AB matches up with AD, they're the same length, and BE matches up with DE, they're the same length. So I can't go with only because it works for B and it works for C. So D says all three, and all three it is. For this one, anytime you see possible range of a triangle, you take the two numbers that you are given and you add them up. So you're going to add 43 plus 24, and you're going to take those same numbers, 43 minus 24, to set up your range. So we're going to find 67. Here it is. I'm going to put it here. And we're going to take 19 and we're going to put it here. And that will be the possible range. And I just realized that we didn't answer the question. It says, what is the range of possible lengths in inches for the third side? And we actually have to click them. So what I'll do is I'll highlight all the ones that are within the range. Okay, 9 isn't, 19 isn't, 20 would be in the range, 24, 30, and 33. These are the numbers that can make up the possible third side. However, 19 and 67 will go in the boxes. Read these very carefully. This doesn't say which could make a triangle. It says which can make a right triangle. So for a right triangle, we need to know that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. C is going to be your largest. And so what we want to do is check them out. So D actually checks out. Read the directions. It says which are congruent. In order for triangles to be congruent, we have 5 postulates that we have to make sure that we know. Side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, and hypotenuse leg. Let's go ahead and fill in all the missing angles. So once I filled in my information and I'm checking out the angles in Q, S, and T are the same, but R is 45, 60, and 75. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate R. Anything with an R in it is not going to work. So it's either QS or it's going to be QT. When I look at 10, 10 is between 70 and 65, which could be angle, side angle. Over here, 10 is between 65 and 70, which could be angle, side, angle. Over here, 10 is between 65 and 45, which still could be angle, side, angle. However, this is 65 and 45, which doesn't match 70 and 65. 70 and 65. So it is what? QS. Okay, reading through this problem, we have a marching band, and so the band players are making up the sides of the triangle. So here we are, we have a triangle, and we have trumpet, flute, and clarinet. So the angle formed by the trumpet and the flute is 45. Trumpet and the flute, 45. The angle formed by the flute and the clarinet, 68. 68 should only touch flute side and clarinet side. So let's figure out what the rest is. Okay, so I filled in the missing angle. It wants us to list it from order from least to greatest, and it's the sides. Okay, so I want to find the smallest angle, which is 45, and it is across from the smallest side, which is C. So clarinet. Next is 67, which is across from the flute. And last is the trumpet. So 24 is B. Okay, so for this particular problem, we see that an equilateral triangle is folded in half. Awesome, because now we can just go ahead and bring out, that didn't look good. We can just bring out the one triangle like they did. So here we go. We have a triangle. If it's cut in half, this side is now 7, this is 60, and this top angle is 30 degrees. They want us to find X, so we have some options to find X. We definitely could use trig. If I use, go ahead and use trig, I'll stand at the 60-degree angle and label my triangle. So 7 is adjacent to me and X is opposite, so I'm going to use tangent. So tangent of 60 is 1.732. We'll cross multiply and solve and figure out what X is. We cross multiply and we get 1.732 times X is equal to 7. We divide both sides by 1.732. So once we get X is equal to 4.04, but it doesn't match any of our answers here, so we'll put these in the calculator and find the decimal. And when we do, 7 square roots of 3 comes out to 4.04. So the answer is C. For this one, check out the words. We're looking for similar. That means a proportion. So we need a triangle that is going to be proportionate to the first one. So when I write this, I'm going to write the sides 4, 5.5, and 5.5. So when I match it up, smallest to largest, I'm going to do that with each triangle. Let me do this first one. What's the smallest side? It's 3. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the smallest side. The next one is 4.125. And the next one is 4.125. Now in your calculators, give me the decimal for each one. So the decimal for each one came out to 1.333 repeating. So we got very lucky that the first one we set up has the same scale factor. So they're similar. For this particular problem, it says figure ABC with a diagonal of AC, and AB is congruent to DC, so all the markings are there. We want to complete the proof to show the triangles are congruent. So let's just read through what we have. So they're telling us the sides are congruent. That's given. So let me mark this. This is a side congruent to another side. This is a side congruent to another side. So we got it. Next, AC is congruent to itself. It's in the middle. And the two sides. So this is the reflexive property. So reflexive will go here. Now what do we have here? We have 3 sides. So guess what? This is the side. Proofs aren't that bad. Just read through it, mark stuff up, and make sure you understand the proof. Reading through the question here. What's the closest to the total length of the 6 cars? So it's really asking us what's the hypotenuse. I see a right triangle, so I'm either going with Pythagorean's theorem or trig. Well, since I only have one side, I will not be using Pythagorean's theorem. So this is 20 and this is 38. So I'm going to stand here and I'm going to label my triangle. So close to me is adjacent. On the opposite side is the O, and across from the 90 is the hypotenuse. Since I am solving for the hypotenuse, I'm going to use O and H. And set up my trig. I have my trig set up. I turn sine of 38 into a decimal. I am going to cross multiply and simplify. And you get x is equal to 32.5. All right, when we look at this problem, it says the triangles do not overlap. So when I look down here, I notice that I have this symbol here, which is similar. So if they're similar, we need to set up a proportion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my colors to see from A to B. So 1, 2, 3. So what I do know is that from A to B is 3. I love it when you can just count over. I can look and see that D to B is 2. B to E is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and I can see over here B to C is 1. So I set up my proportion for ABD and EBA. So AB over EB, first 2 over the first 2, second 2 over the second 2. Then I'm going to put in the numbers. So AB is 3, EB is 6, BD is 2, and BA is 3. Are these proportionate? No, so this is not the answer. So we'll do that with each one and see what we get. So I set up the proportion for C. So the first 2 CB goes with AB. Second 2 BD goes with BE. First and last CD goes with AE. Now let me go ahead and put the numbers in. CB, which is 1, over AB, which is 3. BD, which is 2, over BE, which is 6. And so if I simplify this, they are proportionate. There we go. Reading through the problem, keyword is congruence. So I see I have an angle already given, and I have a side. Whenever you see vertical angles, you need to mark the vertical angles. So now we can see as we go around that this is angle, angle side, D. Okay, which could be the lengths of 3 sides of a triangle? Possible third side. So I take the 2 smallest, and so that in this case is going to be 8 and 6. And so 8 plus 6 needs to be greater than 14. And actually 8 plus 6 is 14. So is 14 greater than 14? No. So could this be it? No. The next two smaller ones, we're going to take 9 and 11. 9 and 11 gives me 20. Is 20 bigger than 21? No. So we try C. The 2 smaller ones are 8.5 and 10.6. If we add that up, is it bigger than the third side? Yes, it is. So here it is. This could make a triangle. Students get this confused and try to do a right triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Don't do it if it doesn't say right triangle. So we're looking for similarity because we see our symbol here. So it needs to be, excuse me, proportionate. When they're connected like this, they do share a common angle. So you're going to have angle is one of the things they have in common. So let's think about the postulates for proving triangles are similar. There are only 3, side, 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 and side, angle, and angle, angle. Okay? So we already have one angle. So we're going to go with either side angle side or angle angle. So we need one other condition to prove they're similar. Well, they're going to give us just one other condition. Let's see what that condition is. So it's not going to be the first one, because if you look at the angle in the middle, Q and S, they don't match up because Q here and S here in the same triangle. This one is T and P in the middle. T and P are in the same triangle, so we can go ahead and eliminate A and B. So if we're going to use the sides, we're going to use the statement to match stuff up. So it's going to be PR, first two, over QR, first two, last two, RT, over RS, first and last, PT over QS. Yay. So when I see QS over PT, okay, so they wrote it backwards. That's okay. And then we have QR over SR. Nope, that doesn't work. So let's see, QR over PR. So we have these two written backwards. And then we have SR and RT written backwards. But at least if we flip it around, we could definitely go with QR over PR is equal to RS over RT. And we have our answer, it is D.